We're recording? Okay, excellent. This is again Shem Lachot Tefillin. And Bezrat Hashem, next week we're going to do Lachot Chanukah, which is also exciting as well. We're going to do Lachot Chanukah for 2 weeks, and then we're going to go back to finish off the one more lesson on Lachot Tefillin. Bezrat Hashem. Okay, so we spoke about last time about the putting on Tefillin Shel Rosh and Tefillin Shel Yad. So we said that Ashkenazim, they make 2 brachot, and Sfaradim, we make 1 bracha on the Tefillin Shel Yad, and we have kavanah that is going to be poter of the Tefillin Shel Rosh. We said about not speaking at all in between. And remember when we said that we said even you shouldn't even make a sign with your wink or with your fingers at all. Do you remember when we said that you do make a bracha on the Shel Rosh?
Yeah, if you talk in between.
Exactly. If you talk in between. If you forget and you talk.
But I have a question.
Yes.
At what point do you say the bracha say the bracha for Shel Rosh if you've spoken? Do you say it as soon as you've spoken or as soon as you put the Rosh on?
So what he did is first you say Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. That's the first thing that he's saying, that the name of God is holy and is blessed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed, forever and ever. You say that. Then you make a bracha Asher Kedishanu Al Mitzvah Tefillin, and you put on the Shel Rosh. The only incident you say that is if you talk. Now, lechatchila, you're not even supposed to answer Amen or Barechu or Kedusha in between Shel Yad and Shel Rosh. If you say Amen by mistake and you forget, it doesn't matter, you don't make a bracha on Shel Rosh. Only if you talk and you say, can you give me the Siddur or something, I don't know what you want to talk about in between Shel. But if you talk by mistake, then when you answer the phone, then you say Baruch Shem and then you make a bracha on your Tefillin. The only other time you make a bracha on Shel Rosh is if you don't have a Shel Rosh. You only have the Shel Yad, and then you get a Shel Rosh, so you make a bracha on that. Okay. Yeah, we said what happens if you take off your Tefillin and you go to be excused, you come back. What do you do?
You said last time you do bracha.
So very good. I said last time it was machloket. According to the Ben Ish Chai, you just think the bracha, be'erehu. According to Rabbi Vadia, you say the bracha. Because according to Rabbi Vadia, going to the toilet even for a short amount of time is a hefsek, because it's not a place to go in with your tefillin.
What's the Moroccan minhag? So if we think of
so I think there is different minhagim regarding this, but this is one. According to Ben Ish Chai, you don't make a bracha. According to Rabbi Vadia, you make a bracha.
I had a question. When you, as soon as you put your tefillin on your yad, you don't do the hand. You put the rosh on, and then you wrap the hand.
Right.
Is it as soon as you put the first strap around?
So we're going to talk about that. We're going to get to it. Okay, we're going to go to Halacha. We're going to come to that. Okay, what happens if your tefillin fall down? Let's say they split off your head. You put them back on. You make a bracha or don't make a bracha?
Fast.
No, they don't fall off the floor. They fall off your head and you catch them. You put it back on.
You don't
make a bracha on that. The only time you make a bracha again is if you need to go to the bathroom, then you come back, you put them on, you make a bracha again. Okay. What happens if you borrow tefillin?
With permission?
Oh, with permission. Are you allowed to use tefillin without permission?
Huh?
Yes.
Yes.
I said because someone did that to me.
Well, he took it without asking you?
Yeah. He is, and you prosper, Crispin.
Okay, so it's not so pashut about that. So there's a few halachot about it. The terms and conditions apply. So first of all, like this, if you borrow a talit just to go up for, let's say, Kriyat Torah or for Chazan, then you don't make a bracha on a talit. Only if you want to do the mitzvah of talit and you also want to borrow it for mitzvah talit, you make a bracha on it. With tefillin, when you borrow tefillin, because you're making the mitzvah of tefillin, you make a bracha on the tefillin. However, stealing tefillin is not allowed.
We're talking about actual theft of tefillin, or
I'm talking about
using without permission.
Using without permission. Okay. It's mitzvah ba'avera. You're not allowed to take somebody's person's tefillin without asking them. Hashem does not like that. You don't wear tefillin even without asking them, even if you're sure they're going to allow you. If you ask them, of course they're going to say yes. No one's going to say, no, I don't want to use my tefillin. but you have to ask them. So
But
you
if
should
the
wait
shoe,
till they.
if the shoe's got a spare pair, you can.
One second. We're going to come to that one. If you know they're going to come in a few minutes, wait till they come and ask them directly. Okay? If you ask the gabai in the shul, of course, he's got a spare pair, you can use it. Now, the only exception of using tefillin without permission is when there's no one to ask and you cannot get permission and you're going to miss the mitzvah of tefillin entirely. That means every day you've got a certain time to do the tefillah of tefillin. You're going to miss it. Then there's an assumption. And even that's got conditions. It's called shatat chak, when there's not possible to wear tefillin without asking. And you know they're probably going to let you. There's an assumption that we make that that most Am Yisrael are happy if you do a mitzvah with mamona. Okay, there are some individuals that please don't touch my tefillin, I don't like it. But normal people, they're happy if you do a mitzvah with their tefillin. And that's one condition, that you're going to lose the mitzvah because you're not going to have it, and you don't have opportunity to ask from them. Then you do the mitzvah with the tefillin, but afterwards you should go back and tell them, listen, I borrowed your tefillin, I had no option, I had no choice, I couldn't do it, thank you so much, please can I pay you something? Or, of course, no one's going to take money, but you need to say thank you for using the tefillin. And let them know afterwards. So that's two conditions, or maybe three. One condition, there's no one else to ask from, you're going to miss the time of the tefillin, and afterwards you should go back and thank them and tell them that you used it. Okay. But lechatchila you should ask. Don't take tefillin without asking. It's not nice. So personally, someone's going to look for it. But also it's asur. Hashem doesn't want you to do tefillin with avera. Okay. Now, the halacha is the seder tefillin. This is what Joe was asking. So before we get onto the fingers, where do you put the shel yad? Where do you put it?
On your bicep, close
on
to
your bicep. So very good. So where on your biceps? I'm gonna
middle, as close to the heart as possible.
Okay. So that is right. Now, okay, it could be some people doing. Some people know how to put on tefillin. I've been doing it since I was bar mitzvah. I know how to do it. Don't tell me. I'm gonna say it anyway. If you know it, then kol hakavod. But if you did it slightly wrong, that means you're putting a tefillin in the wrong place. So you haven't done anything. Okay? If you put tefillin on your nose, you haven't put on tefillin. If you don't put it in the right place, you haven't done it. Now it's very difficult. If you're used to doing it one way, and I'm telling you to do it slightly different, it's difficult to change. So it's very important to listen carefully how I'm going to tell you exactly where to put on the tefillin. Maybe as introduction from Rabbi Netanel Dadoun. Rabbi Netanel Dadoun maybe lived maybe 50 years ago. He saw somebody with a radio, pocket radio. Nowadays we've got much more advanced machines than pocket radios. But it was the first pocket radio, and a little black box. And he said to them, "Wow, does that really work?" He said, "Yeah," and he can hear sounds and they hear the news and music. He said, "Does it really work when it's not even plugged into the wall?" He said, "Yeah, it's got batteries. The battery makes it work. You don't need to plug into the wall." He said, if you can see that a little black box can play music, not connected to anything, so you can understand that tefillin, you got a black box on your head, it's connected to Shemayim, brings kedusha. You asked him, what happens if I take about one connection, a screw on the inside of the radio? If I take out one bit of a microchip, is it going to work? He says, no, it's going to work. Even if it's a little break in the battery or just a break in the circuit, a small break in the circuit, the whole thing is useless.
Mm-hmm.
So the same thing with the tefillin. The whole kedusha, you have to do everything perfectly. If there's one scratch in the letter, in the vav, or in the shin, or anything is not properly, you haven't done it. It's useless, not working properly.
So the scratch in the shin of the boxing?
Any letter, if there's a scratch which separates the actual letter, it looks like two letters instead of one. Let's say you got a vav, and there's a scratch in the middle of the vav. Okay, so sometimes there's a crack in the ink. The ink has to be filled.
You're talking about the script.
The script inside, yeah. I'm just giving it as an example of something that which makes the tefillin possible.
But what about the shins? Since last week you said to look into the shins.
Yes.
I forgot a few times, but I remembered one of the times.
When you remember, you look, yeah.
But the paint is chipped a little bit on the shin. Is that
so? Okay, so get to get to a sofer, get to Ben Arosh, or go to my dad, or go to somebody that can do it, and fix it. I don't know who else does it there.
okay?
I know Ben Arosh does it, and maybe my dad can help, or know somebody, or ask around. Get it checked properly. If I was there, I'd have a look and I'll tell you what to do.
It needs to be seen to is the question. So
Maybe send me a picture of it.
okay.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, the shel yad. Okay, so this part needs to be on your bicep. Okay, now it's very important. Your bicep, if you've got big biceps like Joe, or small biceps, yeah, doesn't matter. There's a place which is kasher and a place which is pasul. So if you look at your forearm, in between your shoulder and your elbow, so half of it needs to be on the bottom half. Okay, from the middle downwards. If it's a drop higher on the biceps, even if it's on the biceps, it's not korshu, a drop. You haven't put it in the right place. Then that's very difficult. Okay, that could be you need to go to the gym a little bit to get bigger biceps, put your tefillin properly, and get smaller tefillin, or get some weight. I'm not even joking over here. Yeah? Maybe get smaller tefillin. If you've got big tefillin and they're on higher up on your biceps, even a korshu, they're not in the right place. So you need to be on the bottom second half. It doesn't need to be on the bottom. It needs to be in the second half. Now, even in the second half, it can't be right next to the elbow. It has to be 2 finger gap, and then starts the tefillin on the biceps. And you've got to make sure that's on the second half. So if your tefillin doesn't fit there, either get smaller tefillin or get bigger biceps. It should fit there. Most people, adults, yeah, even if you don't go to gym, you've got enough muscle over there to put on the kiboret, the shel yad. On there. Okay. Now, second thing is it should be on the bicep, but facing towards the heart. That means you turn it a little bit tilted. So let's remember this: the bottom half of the arm, bottom half, 2 fingers from the bottom. That's very important. Now, when do you tie it up? How do you tie it up? So there's something which is called the yud. Can you see this? I don't know if you can see good on the screen. Okay. Can you see this little piece?
Yeah.
That's called the yud. So that needs to be touching the square box on top. Now, I don't know if you can see clearly. Now, can you see here? There's a little bit of a gap here.
Yeah, you can see.
Can you see?
Yeah.
There. It's separated from the box. It needs to be touching. That has to be touching. Now, how do you make it touching? So the Ben Ish Chai says one way of doing it is when you put on your tefillin, you wrap it around with a strap to make sure that it touches. Now that's important to get it touching. Really? I remember Rabbi David, when I was bar mitzvah, he made sure, he told me to do it. People don't do it. There's ways to get, if you get a sofer in Israel, there's a way they can just make it stick to it that doesn't move.
Rabbi Netanel, that's a minhag of Moroccans as well?
So I managed to check up for Moroccan minhagim, but
I know.
Ben Ish Chai talks a lot about pisod. Yeah. Okay, I can check for you. I'm going to just send you this Ben Ish Chai, and also according to Rabbi Vadia as well. Rabbi Vadia and Ben Ish Chai both say this is very important to do. The yud needs to be tied up. Now you don't have to tie up with the strap. That is just a suggestion from the Ben Ish Chai to tie up with the strap. You don't need to, but you do need to make sure that it's touching. Okay, so either hold that back or find something else to hold it, or something that needs to be holding it. Now the other thing he says is to cover it up. To cover up your sleeve. Once you put on the tefillin shel yad, so you unrolled your sleeve or you got a short sleeve, then you don't leave it like that. The box has to be covered up. Now, when I say has to be, I mean a pisod. With your talit, doesn't have to be a sleeve. Could be a sleeve, could be a jacket, or could just be the talit. Doesn't have to be all your arm. Just the part where the tefillin is. Just the part where the tefillin is. It's a pisod, and he brings it also from the pasuk, which says, that's a term, but also it says a pisod also is important to cover up. Not the whole arm. You can still have short sleeves, but to cover just the part of the tefillin with the talit that's covered up. That's a pisod. But even more important than covering up is make sure that the yud is touching it. And as far as I know, Gilad, that's according to everyone. Rabbi Vadia and Ben Ish Chai and also Morocco. Like I said, no, to make sure the yud is touching. Doesn't have to be wrapped around with the strap. That's different minhagim. but it needs to be touching. You need to make sure the way to find it. If you go to a sofer, it could be they can tie it with a gid. But the yud needs to be started touching. Now, the next thing is
sometimes they have like a little band they've started doing, like a small band made just to hold it in place.
from sinew.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I've seen that done in a few places. I actually paid somebody to do it for me, a special knot. I don't know how he did it, and it worked for a little bit, and then it just came out. So that's also important to do. The next thing is, how many times you wrap it around your arm?
8 for Moroccans, 7 Yemenite.
8.
So, okay, so it depends how you count, 7 or 8. But according to the Halacha, it needs to be 7. But 7 is not including the beginning or the end. The beginning, which comes from the forearm, and the end, which goes to the front arm, that little half a turn is not counted. So you count 7 full ones. So some people count that as 8, some people count that as 7, but that's what you should know. In the middle, it needs to be 7, and the beginning and the end is not counted. Okay, after you've done the 7...
That's 9 altogether.
So it depends how you count it. It's 7 and 2 halves. Okay, so you can call it 8 full ones or 9 half ones. That's what you usually need to know. The middle needs to be 7. The first half you don't. The first turn you don't count. And the last turn you don't count. Is that clear?
Yes. Just
okay.
I'll go back to the cover.
We're coming up to your fingers, Joe. You have any other questions?
Yeah. The covering of the tefillin on the bicep.
Yeah.
They come with a cap.
Yes.
On it already, so it needs to be covered in addition to the cap, or the cap is a form of covering.
So let me get back to you with the cap, because I remember there's a difference of opinion. I didn't look it up again today, so I'm going to get back to you on that. What I see from the Ben Ish Chai means that it needs to be covered the whole tefillin box and the knot. That's the part that needs to be covered up. Let me get back to you with the cap.
Okay.
Okay. After you've done the 7 straps, you stand up. All that is sitting down, according to the Sfard Chadim, Ben Ish Chai, Ashkenazim stand up. But for us, we sit down. After you do that, you stand up and you do the Tefillin Shel Rosh. You put on Tefillin Shel Rosh without the bracha. The front, where do you start from? From where the hairline should start. So if you got a hairline which is receding, then from where it used to be when you were young, that's where it goes from. Okay, until the basically where your kippah is, at the front. Okay, at the back is supposed to be where your bone is. You can feel the bone at the back of where your neck meets your scalp. That's where the knot should be on the back.
Below the bone.
Just touching the bone. It's supposed to be on the bone, below the bone, but touching it. It's not supposed to be in the hollow part. Just touching the bone at the bottom of the bone.
You mean like on the bone?
Yeah, on the bone, or the bottom of below the bone, but touching the bone. It has to be on the bone or below it, but touching it. Then the fingers. Okay, what do you do with the fingers? So if you're going to demonstrate, you do the first knot on the top, in the middle part, 1 knot in the middle, and then 2 below that. Okay, there's 3 times you do it. Now there is different minhagim. There's different minhagim, so you do what you were taught at your bar mitzvah. I'm just saying this is what we learn. People have different minhagim, 1 knot and then 2 knots. But according to all the minhagim, there's 3 times. And at the same time, you say the pasuk ve'aras tichli le'olam, ve'aras tichli b'tzedek u'b'mishpat v'chesed b'rachamim, ve'aras tichli be'emunah v'yadata et Hashem. These 3 psukim means I'll be married to you forever. Ve'aras tichli. That's what it means. It's like a wedding ring. You're pledging allegiance to Kadosh Baruch Hu when you put on a tefillin.
So what do you say? Sorry, what do you say again?
So it's 3 psukim. If you look in Sudur, it says Varas Tichli Le'olam. 3 psukim Varas Tichli, which is what we say. Varas Tich is when when you're getting married, you're giving a ring. So you're saying, "Are we become betrothed or married to you forever?" And it's a pledge of allegiance that you're putting on the ring on your finger. And we have to appreciate that the tefillin is like the crown of Am Yisrael. We say in the pasuk, we say in the bracha, Oter Yisrael betifara. Oter is the crown of pride. God gave us a tefillin, and we should wear it with pride, our tefillin. We'll do one more last halacha for tonight. Is that when you put on your tefillin, there's an order you put on. We said first the talit, then shel yad, then shel rosh. You don't take your tefillin bag, and I've seen this once. I wanted to cry, so somebody did this. He like emptied it out, it's tefillin like that, like I don't know, like he was opening a pack of pretzels or something, and then checking out his tefillin. I don't know. I wanted to cry when I saw that. You don't do that. You take out your tefillin shel yad first. After you put on your tefillin shel yad, then you take out the tefillin shel rosh. You don't take out both of them. There's an order you do it. First you take out shel rosh, then you take out your shel rosh. If you take on your shel rosh by accident, then you put it back, you cover it, and then you put on the talit shel yad properly. Okay, that's all for tonight. We learned a lot about halachot. I thank you for joining me.
Thank
Bezrat
you.
Hashem, next week, I'm just reminding everyone, Wednesday night, Bezrat Hashem, special Chanukah edition shiur on Parashat Vayishlach and Halachot Chanukah. And then Bezrat Hashem, the week after is Chanukah. Okay.
Thank you,
I
Rabbi.
wish you all a good night. Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Rabbi.
Shiur.
Shabbat
Shabbat
Shalom.
Shalom.
Thank you, Shabbat
Night.
Shalom.